it probably would be, you know, and it would have perhaps a little piece by the chairman. It would have perhaps a profile of a councillor on each one, so it would be an interest item, and it would cover all the things like we've done with play equipment, things we've done with highways, hedges, all the things that we've done, telephone kiosk, and it would have it all laid out for an interesting document, perhaps only a double-sided A4, but it would be a newsletter that would perhaps slip inside the Brent Knoll News.
I am conscious that you did a very good one-pager, or half a page, three-quarters of a page, I can't remember exactly, in this month's Brent Knoll News.
Yeah, that's what.
And that really is starting it, and is that, in some ways, good enough?
Well, it may be. I just wanted to just very briefly show you what I had in mind, just so you get a clearer view.
You have a quick question while the
at the last meeting I was asked to do a sort of prototype of this sort of thing.
Of what we do.
Which is what I've done.
Yeah.
I've got copies for everybody to read so that they can add or subtract what I've written. So we're duplicating something here.
So would this be, well, it is and it isn't, Brian, because I think it would be a standalone thing to say this is what a parish councillor does.
Well, my whole thing says, what does your parish councillor do?
Yeah, so that's fine. But this is what we have done.
This is historical. We've done these things.
Would you see that being an insert in the Brent Knoll News?
I mean, I was talking to Bob about that, whether that would be a practical proposition or not.
I think that's a conversation I'd have to have with the distribution team.
I mean, we're talking twice a year, actually. We're probably talking about just before the annual parish meeting, probably, and probably October time, about now. That sort of thing. I mean, it's entirely up to you. I've just been sort of playing around with it to think, how can we communicate with the village in a better way than we do now? And maybe this is a purely a council thing, whereas, of course, Brent Knoll News is about the village.
Yes.
This is purely and simply what the council have been up to and what we've achieved over the last 6 months or whatever. And, you know, if I go slightly further down, I've got things like, you know, the chairman's corner, you know, which Richard can write a piece in there about his views of what's been going on from the parish council's perspective. A special item of interest, and it would be on a two-sided thing, so you'd have other bits and pieces.
Can you spot the deliberate error on that, Brian?
There'll be hundreds. There'll be hundreds of errors. Don't worry about the errors.
Cherryman.
But just it's something for you to think about.
I would
go
say,
down a little bit.
I would say what you've done, Brian, would be ideal to go in that as a first edition.
Well, you haven't seen it yet.
The other way, please. Oh, the other way. Right, okay.
Yeah. Whoa,
You want to see your name?
He knows something I don't know.
You messed Peter up.
You don't know what else.
You wasn't going to
reply to an email, Peter.
That's
who is this? Who is
first copy?
Yeah, Councillor Peter Osborne, if any.
As I say, it's just food for thought. It's not something I'm asking the council to say yes, no to.
But I support the principle to go
That's
forward.
a good idea.
I think it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
And I would say, and Brian, let's give Brian an opportunity to say what.
Well, it was a copy for everybody.
Cheers.
I wrote this just off the top of my head, from my memory. You will probably have lots more information to put in. Yeah.
All true, thank you. No,
Please.
But this is what I was asked to do at the last meeting, you remember?
They've got
Everybody got one?
Thank you.
You got one, Owen?
Yes, thanks to Brian.
Well, the idea was if you took this home and went through it and added or subtracted bits that you wanted to put in, then we could come up next meeting and finalise it and then put it back in the Brent Knoll News.
Well,
The idea of a publicity stunt on behalf of the parish council.
Well, I'm wondering, this personally would be ideal for that first edition of your parish council.
What were you thinking about timing?
Well,
Brian?
because of the thing I put at the bottom, I would have thought early next year.
Yeah. So February, March time, sort of thing.
How soon do you think you're...
Well, I mean, that I'd be working on, if the council wanted me to go ahead and produce something, I'd start work on it sort of probably very soon, because it's going to take a lot of time.
yes, I'm me.
And I would suggest that something like this is ideal to say,
Yeah.
this is a starter for 10, this is what we are responsible for as a parish council.
Yeah.
But you may wish to add other things.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is not.
Well, we don't
Should be issued during the dark days when they've got nothing to read.
But
And
they
they run out on the garden.
may not have any electricity.
We can have Sudoku on the back.
What we're saying is that the councils come back and add them.
The crossword as well, your favourite,
Like that.
who is your favourite councillor?
If any.
He keeps popping up.
Profile.
Right, that profile we're talking about, was it in the our website?
Yes.
Not the one at the council offices?
Our website.
It's our
Our
website,
website
okay.
profile, which I know Bob has updated recently. Colin I changed and Richard I changed because they had.
And me,
We
change.
updated
Yours have changed. Brian's have changed.
Can I ask you then to bring this next meeting with your amendments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Additions?
Yeah, that's good, right, thank you.
Next meeting.
Right.
I'll put down the next meeting, then I shall know to do that.
So nothing else?
That's all I had. I think we've
Can we
gone
come
on
back
for
to the initiative then?
Sorry?
The initiative that you did the day before the last meeting, that I thought was done online rather than
Oh, see,
at
yeah.
council.
Well, I wrote to you, didn't I, Peter, because I had a couple of
I know
concerns.
you wrote to me, but I maintain that it should have been brought up at council, anything like that, when it involves yourself, it should be documented, that it's going to be walked through.
But you could have brought it up, you could have raised it.
I'm not saying I could if I wanted to, but I chose not to.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anything about it. It came through to me on the, I don't.
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
making myself clear.
You are. What you're effectively saying is that we went out and did what was it?
A walk.
Brian, John, went out in the car because I was a bit unsure about some of the things that you do. I just want some clarification, which of course is why this long list developed, because there were some things that have been outstanding for an awful long
Well,
time.
that's what I'm saying. The council should be aware of what they're doing. You should be guided by the council. You should only be going out there with the blessing of the council.
Well, it was councillors that were going out, basically. It wasn't.
I know they're going out, but it hadn't been decided by council. You chose to have.
I think that's being a bit pedantic, Peter.
No,
No,
I think
I'm not.
I think that's
with
pretty
respect, Owen asked whether councillors would
I sent a letter.
Exactly.
Councillors volunteered.
Yeah, but I mean saying that should have been brought up at council. We're spending taxpayers' money, we're paying parish.
But it wasn't a decision-making exercise. It was just so that I
I
could
know,
clarify
but
what
you
we
involved
were doing.
yourself.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Peter. It really doesn't matter.
So you choose to do it?
No, I was just getting clarity on what was required. That was all. I wasn't making any decisions.
No, I know you're not making
I was
decisions.
just trying to find out exactly what
But
we
it
need
came
to
at
do.
a cost to the council.
Didn't. There's no cost to the council.
Or what about your travel?
I didn't travel. Didn't charge anything for that trip at all.
How do we know?
Oh, there you go.
What, do you want to give me
No,
detailed chat from us?
okay, I'm asking any question anybody in the council would ask.
Okay. Well, I can. You take my word for it, Peter.
Okay, I will do, but I'm thinking as parish.
There was no cost to the council in that exercise at all. It was purely John, Bob and Brian who agreed to come out with me in response to the letter I'd sent out asking for anybody, just so it could help me to clarify what was actually outstanding. There was no cost to the council whatsoever. We made no decisions whatsoever. It was simply that I could understand what was needed and what we had to bring to the council, which is why we've got this long list of jobs which came out as a result of that exercise. And you've had a chance tonight to look at all those things and decide and vote on it. I honestly don't see the problem in it.
Can we now move on?
Maybe it's me then.
No, it's not you. It's your point of view, people. It's your
I
point of view.
accept it, maybe it's me.
Can we move on, please? Correspondence received.
Just the one on the Age UK, that was the one I sent out. The Age UK are trying to get parish councils a bit more involved in their publicity, that they clearly see their role as increasingly important. They're looking for volunteers, they're looking for interaction with parish councils. I suspect that at some point they're going to come to us and ask for some money, I guess. But you saw the email I sent out and you could see what they were actually asking. Just for your benefit, Malcolm, because you obviously didn't get the email, Age UK wrote to me saying that clearly the profile of Age UK now They're trying to increase the profile because obviously there are lots of issues, particularly in rural areas and villages, and they're trying to get parish councils to interact better with them and to actually, you know, put things on the notice board that are relevant to Age UK, services that they're offering, volunteers, that sort of information. They were just sending it out for information more than anything else. And if we were prepared to offer any help, then they would welcome it.
I mean, clearly the logical link is through the village agent, I would have thought.
Yeah, it probably was. I should have raised it with Kim this afternoon, actually, probably.
Rather than the parish council direct.
Yeah.
I mean, surely we're happy to put anything on our notice board, but I would have thought...
They were asking for volunteers anyway, which
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
So,
Finance.
we got finance eventually. Basically, the statutory payments for this month include the usual ones, Clark Salary, GB Sports and Tax, and JP Mayo. Plus, this month we've got the Sedgemoor contract for the toilet cleaning contract and the dog bin contract. So that's why it's slightly higher this month, because we pay that twice a year to Sedgemoor. Okay, so that's 261,570 of statutory payments. We've then got the annual audit fee for Grant Thornton of £240. Now they've included the external audit. Now the next one is the parish hall one, which obviously Bob and Bella have got a personal interest in, which is the parish hall. No, not personal interest. £98.75, and that includes, incidentally, a credit from the previous one. Because one of the things that Jenny hadn't spotted when she did the invoice was that they overcharged us last time because they charged us for this room for our annual parish meeting evening, whereas in fact they should have charged the other room. So we had a £19.50 credit. So in fact we're only £98.75 this time around, so it's a bit less. Brian, would you like to disappear?
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Oh, he should have declared an interest.
Should have declared an interest, but just keep it. I'll add that to the
Can I have a biscuit?
I don't think it'll take very long, Brian. Brian kindly provided the refreshments for the council open morning, £13.19, and is it your wish that should be paid?
Yes, definitely.
So I'll tick that one off as being agreed.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there's a funny noise going on with whether it's your computer.
I think it's agreed.
It's making such
Yeah,
loud
long
noises.
fade.
I don't want to blow up.
You refused.
Yeah.
Is it that that's making the noise?
Probably, yeah, it's that, but it's the exact thing, isn't it? It's the, I'll turn that off in a minute. Then we've got Eon Energy. This is a 3rd of September, £26.70. Whilst we're on the Eon Energy, I've had a look at, we're coming to the end of our contract now with Eon Energy, and I've had a look at some options. A lot of energy suppliers don't like parish councils, apparently, I've learned. And the reason for that is because the way we operate, where we have to make payments on a monthly basis, it often means that parish councils go into a kind of an arrears situation, outstanding issue. Because, like for example, Eon sent me this bill now, the day after our last meeting, and I've had 2 reminders, overdue reminders, and I keep on saying to them, I can't pay you until I've got parish council's permission. So, of course, a lot of other energy companies take a view now, well, you know, do we really want to do this? So it's quite a small business. Eon sent us a new contract now, which we need to approve, but it's actually the same as the previous one. There's no increase, which I was amazed actually. I thought it will certainly go up. So, with your permission, I would like to suggest we accept it, because I don't think there's much point in going elsewhere.
Well, I propose that as well, you.
All in agreement. And go.
And then the final sorry, Malcolm?
Can we pay by standing order?
No.
Monthly.
We can't, because we don't have that set up in our financial regulations.
Oh, right.
It's something which I think we need to look at next year.
Very
To
useful.
start doing, because we can do it with GB Sports, we can do it with
Yes.
all sorts of regular payment. Jason, we can do
Yes.
this. And I think that's something I want to have a look at before we get into the next financial year, is whether we can do more direct
I think
debit
that's a good
payments.
idea.
And then the last one is office expenditure for the period I mentioned, July to September. And the only increase there, the reason why you see a slight increase, is because obviously now I'm travelling from Taunton rather than effectively from Vernon. The fuel and the mileage rate has gone up. And there's the other item on there which I need to draw your attention to. In the past, it was always, and certainly when I took over from Michael Endicott, there was always this kind of spurious clerk's allowance, which effectively was a percentage of council tax and a percentage of energy. Having spoken to Salk and one or two other clerks, it now seems it's now become what they call a working from home allowance, which is equals the same amount, but it's actually regarded as a working from home allowance of £18 a month, and it's supposed to compensate you for using your facilities at home. So I've changed it to that for this quarter, and apparently the inland revenue are much happier with it as well. They don't like this council tax proportion and energy proportion. So the big difference really is the mileage, and that's the reason why it's gone up marginally this month, or this quarter, I should say. But if you need to see a detailed breakdown of that, I'm very happy to provide anybody with a detailed breakdown. And no, Peter, it doesn't include any trip to Brent Knoll on the previous Tuesday of the last meeting.
Thank you.
Can we have a proposal that we make those above payments, please? Thank you.
Propose?
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing on finance is the budget you've got in front of you. I think it's self-explanatory really. Everything seems to be ticking along quite well. I think now we've got into the second half of the year, it'll be an easier job now forecasting the end of the year, because bear in mind in 2 months' time we're going to be discussing precept again next year. So obviously it's going to be important to get the budget sorted out by then. So this is just a sort of a summary of where we are to date. We had a budget on income of 32,000. We've actually had 46,000 to date, including the latest precept payment. I forecast at 47 because there might be a few bits and pieces, a bit of VAT reclaim still to come in.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Owen where our grants are kept, i.e. the headstone money and stuff like that?
Well, they're all kept in the, they're actually on the income, because of the budget was expenditure and income. It's not actually a reserve account.
Okay.
Obviously on the accounts at the end of the year, I show the reserves separately.
Yeah.
They've gone down actually, the reserves, because we've made some payments to various, like for example the Hills to Levels.
Yeah. How much is in there at the moment?
It's about 8,000 in the fixed reserves, I think. But if you'd like me to get a figure for that, I'll
No,
send you.
it's quite happy.
On the Hills to Levels, can't you presume the farmer for the balance on his contribution?
No, I haven't, and I'm aware that I should do.
But I think we mustn't let that go, because he's got a benefit from that account.
Obviously the Hills to Levels project was the one that kind of distorted figures in a way, because we had the extraordinary payment that came out this year. In fact, the grant was paid in last year. So you have to sort of balance across 2 years really. But everything else seems to be working within reasonable limits. One of the things I have to say, I haven't seen anything from the lady from the Legion, Janet Southwell, regarding refreshments for this year. We're showing nothing against refreshments apart from Brian's bit. So I guess we need to get her to send in her invoice.
Didn't you have to pay an
The
amount?
annual meeting, yeah. So I'm not happy to phone her, but you know. Okay. Apart from that, if there's any other queries, I'll certainly try and answer them.
Only it's partly related to this expenditure, but can Peter have authority to organise the wreath for November for Remembrance Sunday with selling?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Chairman, got a bowler hat?
Are we?
I haven't got a ball in that.
Yeah, I agree.
So are you all agreed on that? So wreath.
I don't intend to blow.
Morris
Is it? Are we talking about the same amount again, Peter? 20? Was it 20?
No.
I think last year was 25.
18, something
I think we went up a little
1750.
bit last year. Did we make a bit more, a slightly bigger contribution last year?
Really couldn't say.
I think it was up to 25. I'll look it up and see what we did.
Well, I'll let you know soon.
Yeah, that's why it's very good. He's going on holiday. This is James,
Right, moving on. Moving on. Telephone kiosk.
Deferred from September meeting.
Deferred from September. What are we going to do with it now we've got it?
Yes, good.
Yeah,
And-
price,
Who
get a price
pays for
at
the
the
light that's on in it?
Is the power still in there?
Yes, the light was on the
I
other
think we
day.
just carry on until somebody tells us any different.
Okay.
My concern is that I went to it the other morning, one Saturday morning, and there was a bag of rubbish or
Yes.
something just stuffed in there. And I think we should take steps to just secure it so it's not abused until we decide what we're going to do with it.
Have we asked, can I reply to Colin? I think it was the same rubbish or parcel that I saw. There was a big square parcel in there. The collection thing by the side of it was full.
Clothes.
And
Clothes.
somebody had put clothes in this box, cardboard box, and put it in the telephone
My
card.
point is, it's not for that.
No.
We should have secured it. We put a note in to say we've taken responsibility for it, and what we should have done probably is secured it some way until such time as we decide what we're going to do with it.
Have we asked Caroline her opinion of what we should do with it?
No, I certainly haven't.
Bob,
Do you think we
should
should?
ask something, I think. Or did you have your hand up just now?
I was going to ask the same question in the sense that I mentioned to Karen, had she been contacted? Because at the last meeting it was said we should have a word with them, but there hasn't been any contact as yet, so it would be worth getting in
So
touch.
do you want me to send her an email, or is that?
I think it would just be worth asking
Some
for
Either a
any
phone call or
suggestions.
please.
Because I'm sure there are other groups like the Girls Just Want to Have Fun and whatever who will have potential ideas as to what might be things that could do with it.
Should we
In the home box.
should we compensate Caroline for any use of electricity, which presumably comes off her supply? I wouldn't want her to think that we're abusing her.
I thought the whole idea was it would be isolated.
We're not quite sure where the electric comes from.
We may need the electrical supply.
Yes.
If it's
I'm
a
not sure
defibrillator.
before.
Defibrillator.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that's battery powered.
No, it's maintained trickle charge.
Oh, triple charge.
Yeah.
Well, when somebody said girls want to have fun and then you start talking about maintaining, well, I just didn't. I switched off the
Doesn't
bill.
want to have fun in a phone.
I must admit, when we put the notice, when we put the notice, asked around somebody put the notice out, I couldn't believe the speed at which Colin did it. I sent him an email, I think 3 o'clock, and by 5:10 he said it's done.
Done.
That's what I call response.
But shall we wait on Caroline then, and before we actually come up with
Yeah.
something?
Let's do that.
Are there any other people perhaps within the village, any groups within the village that might wish to make a comment, do you
Well,
think?
first one I have fun, which is fun, although Caroline's part of that.
School?
School might be a good idea. They might have some idea of some
Project.
artworks or something.
Project for the children?
Extra class.
Would you like to send an email to Chris Berman at school?
I think
Well,
we should ask school. Yes, I do.
Any other societies within the village that might have a beneficial use of it?
Yeah. Single person society.
Right, okay. Now we've gone through item B, and I don't think there's any
nothing-
further issues on that.
C is the same.
C is the same, and D.
D's done.
Anything on
Affordable housing.
affordable housing steering group, please?
No, nothing. It's we're coming fairly shortly. We'll get news from Sedmore.
There is apparently an intention of Duncan and Esther coming to a meeting.
Correct.
Next November.
November. Yeah.
Correct.
And then
Before the
we
meeting.
get a presentation.
Before the meeting and then a public consultation.
Possibly,
Yeah.
possibly the 15th of November.
Yeah.
But they won't get the presentation. They'll come in
There will be a
council.
consultation 3 till 7.
Yeah, but they won't be there.
No.
It won't be there. Why won't they be there?
That's how I understand it.
That'll be at the meeting afterwards.
They'll guide us.
I'll get some clarity on
Car park notice board review of options and quotes, we've done that. Expansion of dog bin provision.
that. Now, I do have some, there's a bit of a quote now tonight, I've got quotes as well from someone. This was raised, I think 2 meetings ago, when Member of the Public, I think it was Jenny actually came in and said that she felt that there wasn't enough dog bin coverage in the village. We should look at Burton Road and Station Road as possible places. So I went to Karen Barnes, and Karen Barnes has come back to me with a quote. And the quote is to supply and fit to existing post, £133.39.
Per bin.
Yeah. Supply and fit to a new post, £179.49. And then emptying bin and replacing is £2.68 per week. That's for 3 empties a week. Sorry, 2 empties a week. £2.68
Each bit.
For each.
each bin. This is all each bin. So, you know, it's not an insignificant cost.
I spoke to people down that, I spoke to people down in that area, and not too many people, and they said, we don't want any dog bins down here. I said, I suggested that the person named said that it would be a handy thing, and they said, well, I expect she would. She's got 10 dogs down there, and she'd like to fill it up every day.
We also have something in the Brent Knoll News, and I doubt we've had any comments back. Possibly.
We had one that I forwarded on to Owen.
Did you?
Yeah. There would have been within a couple of days of the BPM coming out. And it was someone who suggested they'd like one down Crooked Lane.
You're right. It's one Crooked
Because
Lane.
they were saying when people walk the paths,
Yeah.
there's one at the Burnham end of Crooked Lane when you come at that end, but there's nothing at our end.
So actually, could
that
that be incorporated with effectively one in the Station Road, that's all?
Mr Chairman, is there any merit in putting one up at the woods? I know it's in our patch, and that is, it would stop people throwing the bags in the field or in the woods when they pick up the stuff. It would make them, it would hopefully encourage them to pick it up, so because children do go up there and play, and I just think, I know it's in a bit of an inaccessible place, but it's an ideal place to have a dog in.
Ideal place, but as you say, inaccessible for the guy that's got to go and...
Well, he must be going over the top to go to do bins at East Brent, mustn't he?
Don't know.
I mean, even if it were emptied, once a week, an awful lot of dogs go up there.
So the issue is, I think, in principle, do we want to expand it? Yes or no? And if we say no, that's it.
Well, I think there's merit in providing one at Crooked Lane, on the end of Crooked Lane. That's if the people that live in Crooked Lane adjacent to where we like to stick it down the jack. The last time we stuck one up, person objected, we had to move it, so as we speak with the borough, if we make a decision as to where we would like to put it.
Should that be looked at by perhaps somebody just to have a look at the location and so forth?
Well, that's,
So without trying to delay it, I just wonder whether, in principle, I agree that we probably should. We've only, the BKN has only been out a few days in terms of getting feedback from what the village think. Could we maybe look at sticking it on the agenda next time?
Okay.
And then by then, if we've
Yeah.
had more replies, we can...
Okay, thank you.
Please wish to differ? Okay.
SID. We have an issue with the SID on there. Instead of being on a post, it's now there because it's got fractured glass. The issue originally was, should we send it back to Germany to be repaired? And I believe Colin is suggesting perhaps we can just simply replace the glass.
Richard says that it's working, okay, and if you, there are some guarantee seals on the back, and of course this unit is well out of guarantee anyway now. So what we think, and I had a look at it and David's had a look at it, but if we take these Allen key nuts out, we think the whole thing will lift out to enable us to get perspex, because these letters are only stuck on, they're normal letters you can buy, and the tape, I'm sure we can pick up from somewhere, even if it's not exactly the same.
Is that glass, Colin, or
No.
is it perspex?
Perspex, isn't it?
Yeah, so what David and I thought is to carefully just take the back off and see if the whole thing comes out, which I think
And
it
it
probably
still
will.
works.
Yeah, it still works.
Can we blank this off because something probably behind there actually.
Well, yeah, you just put a piece of PVC down it, wouldn't you? Black, yeah, or paint it maybe. Yeah. So that's a suggestion. If you, I just think that it will all come out all in one go.
You could try anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you send it to Germany, how long is it going to take?
And how much is it going to
And how much is it going to cost?
be? Anyway, yeah.
And we're going to be without it, whereas if we get
Have a
one
go.
now,
Yeah.
get the back off.
Are you and Dave happy to have a look at it?
Yeah, we'll have a look at it, yeah, unless you'd like to take it back and have a look at it. Yeah.
That's,
I like taking things apart.
if you save that piece and you cut it up through there and up through there, you would stick that one.
And
Yeah,
stick that.
Yeah, I mean, no, if you cut that.
Oh, I see.
Piece out of there, put
Yeah.
your new piece of perspex in, then stick that piece up on
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, if you could carefully jigsaw it down.
That's right.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It would save taking it apart.
Yes,
No,
wouldn't it?
I'm not. I'm just still suggesting you take it apart.
No, I
It's not a
don't.
clear piece of plastic, you make it with
plastic.
Yeah.
And they probably
Stick
can
it
do
on the outside.
that and reproduce it.
Oh, I see. Just
So
just
that
over
you've
the
got
whole lot.
feet,
Just a
just
thin
the
piece over the whole lot. Yeah.
Just the perspex.
So in other words,
Just perspex. Just to do the perspex.
No,
Because
you
all
still
that
take
needs to
that
be
out.
blanked off.
you'd still take it out.
To
Take it
to
out,
do it.
get a
And
bit of
they do
perspex,
signs, they will
see if it comes
back
back
in
in.
there.
Use that or something.
Colin,
And I'm quite happy to take it off.
Yeah, and stick that back on.
John is suggesting that Aryan Signs could do something about the perspex replacement.
Yeah.
And do all that.
I'm happy to take it up to Aryan
He's
Signs.
quite happy to volunteer to take it up.
Well, do you want to take it apart and give it to John then?
Well, I mean, if they're going to be taken apart, they know what to do. They make things, so may I suggest I go and have a word with Steve up there,
Take the whole thing.
take the whole thing up there, and if it's going to be difficult, I'll then come back and let Colin deal with it, but I will take it up and I'll do it. But I'm going to be up, I'm going to go far here and tomorrow.
So the vice chair, this is where that's the difficult box. So anything that's difficult, Colin has. Is that a problem?
Oh yes.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
will probably take it up tomorrow anyway.
Excellent, that's good. Anything? Have you had any response, or is that a little early yet?
Sorry, they only came out this
Sorry.
May I, if I do that, it's a relatively small job. We want to be able to come to get on with it. Is there a guideline up to which we could go on price?
£50.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Right,
Can we agree that, please? So it's agreed.
Agreed.
£50.
The cost and carriage
Fine, that's right. Okay.
I think item on the adult equipment is deferred because again the same principle applies as Bob's outlined on the previous matter. Yeah.
Thank you. Well done.
To consider all matters emanating from the 16th of September.
It's a big word for me there, wasn't it?
Emanating.
Emanating?
I would just like to say
Did you
thank
emanate?
you to Brian and his
Yes.
wife for
Yeah, well,
providing.
Disappointing as usual we didn't get money there, but we had the
But we
opportunity.
did it.
Mm,
We
but
did
We
it.
had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Did we actually get any feedback? I had one from a former chairman.
Morris.
You noticed.
I had one.
He volunteered to take a room, book a room in the Fox and Goose
Do what?
and do a traffic count on our behalf.
Well, we know there's a lot of traffic. I don't think we need to know.
He said,
It costs us a fortune in beer.
Yeah.
He said, I'm very good at traffic counting.
Yeah.
So there we go, so that was the only comment
There
I
was
had.
one suggestion, Peter, we had the people from the back of the green here,
Yes.
what was the name,
They were
talking about piping the,
fence,
piping the sort of ditch green there.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what they were asking us to do actually. I mean, they mentioned it, but I'm not sure they were asking us to do anything.
Who was
No,
that?
what they'd like us to do is replace their fence.
Oh, really?
And the bank of the ditch is
But they
eroding
recognise the fact
away
that they
from
only
the
own the
green.
outside of the ditch.
Right, okay.
But they're on about the buses as well.
Buses was the other thing, yeah, that's right.
A lady who came, who lives near, she's fairly new to the area, lives near you, near Richard. She was just concerned, as we all are, about the speeding along that road.
Speeding was a big
And
issue.
already lost the red cow.
Sorry?
And she also said she was throwing out the red cow.
Yeah, because she did, she
Thrown out.
well, she was
Yeah.
unhappy that in a public house, you could not treat it as a public house. It is really a restaurant that serves drinks rather than a place where
She
you
was
can
having
have
a
a drink.
drink. And the landlord said, would you mind going home now because we want to shut up. It was 9 o'clock.
I think the other one was we had somebody on about the dogs, dog nuisance. Up on
Oh, yes, yes.
East Drive.
East Side.
Yeah.
That's just ongoing, basically.
And I guess that's, well, we don't know what's going to happen
No,
there. Was there anything else that you're constant
I'm
on?
not considering anything else actually.
Gosh. Right, okay.
Interesting stuff there, isn't it?
Good Crooked Lane hedge
We
management
dealt
we
with
dealt
that.
with,
White
White
Lane we
Lane we
dealt
dealt with, various listing Brian has done.
that.
Extending parish
Well,
surgery.
the only, what I put that in because one of the things that came out of that morning actually was that, I think it was Kim's husband said to me, he'd like to think that he could get along to a parish surgery, but unfortunately he doesn't get out for work until 5:30. And could it be extended till 6 o'clock? And I said to him, look, I personally don't have a problem with that because I'm here anyway. But I'll ask the parish council as to whether they're happy with just because obviously 6 o'clock is very close now to our 7 o'clock start meeting, isn't it?
Someone's trying to eat.
The only thing I can say is we could extend it, but in fact the councillor will only be there until 5 o'clock.
Rather than extending, could we just shunt it
Yeah.
slightly further back? I
Can
mean,
do. We
we
can
know
make
what
it,
time.
make it 4:30 to 6,
Mm.
and then
We only did it once a year.
yeah, and then if the council's needs to go at 5:30 or whatever, then I'll just hang on there until somebody else comes if they do. So yeah, it makes sense really.
Yeah.
4:30 to 6. Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, can we go for that then, please?
Okay.
Footway A38 junction.
Yeah, I think Bob raised that.
Certainly. We agreed to do a bit of footpath clearance and that's now been done.
Thank you.
That's all right. While we were doing it, we noticed though that the hedge that runs alongside, we've cleared all the stuff that was narrowing the tarmac, but there are a lot of brambles and other bits coming out of the hedge that runs alongside it, and certainly when cyclists are going up that bit, it nearly takes your head off, so it would be worth if we could flag it back up to the Hales, whose hedge it is, that they could maybe have that trimmed.
Send him a letter.
Oh, cheers. Oh, cheers.
That's it. That's it. That's the one.
Yes.
It's not bird nesting season.
Yeah, I know.
It's only just.
Okay, so I'll send a letter to Mr. Hale, just asking if he could just attend to that little issue.
And Middle Street footpath bridle way.
Talking about extending that.
As well.
The Middle Street footpath right away. You remember when we had the problems with Crooked Lane, the horse riders came along and they mentioned there were similar issues about the Middle Street path. The reason it's sort of come back up is I had a meeting with a gentleman who's involved with sorting out footways, cycleways, particularly cycleways, to do with something in Barrow. And he mentioned that he'd been looking at the various paths around and had tried to get through on the Middle Street one, which he thought was a lovely path, but is in a dreadful state, and wondered who he could talk to about possibly seeing that improved in the same way that maybe we did with Crooked Lane. His organisation gets involved with doing a lot of the fundraising and finding grants, but they really wanted to have just a contact that they could liaise with. Particularly, they'd like to find out things like we did with Crooked Lane about finding out who the landowners were on either side, because obviously they'd need to be involved. I don't think they'd be looking for major contributions. Might be a small contribution, I don't know. But initially, all they wanted was to know whether the parish council would be interested in looking at it, and if so, could they have contact within the parish council that they could start to talk to.
Right.
I know ministry.
I volunteered, Bob spoke to me about it and I volunteered that they could speak to me if they wanted to.
Over the bridge.
So if you're
If you're
quite
happy to do that.
that. So
Right.
did you give them my details?
I haven't yet, because I wanted to just get it clear with the parish council first, if they're happy that, because otherwise it would have wasted your time and theirs, if the parish then decided it's not something we want to get involved with, but
Oh, I think
We'll
it's...
listen to what they've got to say.
the guy who's doing it is the gentleman who was involved with putting together the footpath cycleway that now links Western Supermare to Breed. So you've got a track with it.
Not on there, but also that thing about the bench.
Oh yes, that's come up since.
Shall we put it on matters of report?
Actually come up on the matters
It would be nice to make a decision on it.
Yeah.
Right, matters of report, Malcolm?
Did we ever get the full contribution concerning Crooked Lane from Clive Gittner?
That was discussed earlier and Colin's promised to chase it. So, yes. Yes, it's pending. Right?
I just had a thought when I stood outside actually. I know, it's shocking. A few years ago we cut the hedges back on Park Road and me and Bob cut the hedge back on the A38 where the mileage sign is. And I just wondered, there's a few areas around the village, would it be worth putting together a list, because these need doing again ideally, would it be worth putting a list of these areas together and actually going out and getting a quote? Because Hart Road's getting bad again because it hasn't been done for 3 years, and we're getting the campsite people on foot. It's not so much now that it's gone out of season, but they walk from the campsite to the Fox and Goose, and at 11 o'clock at night in the dark they're in the middle of the road because the hedge is causing them to walk in the middle of the road. Not that it's really our responsibility, but we've taken responsibility in the past whether we should have a sort of rolling contract that we do it every year or every other year, because it wouldn't cost much if we kept on top of it. But obviously before...
Is it something easily done with a machine?
Yeah,
Tractor with a
yeah,
flail?
it's easily done. But before it was significant because we took back 5 years of growth, but it's going to be like that again in a minute. But there's a few areas that we could highlight, such as Crooked Lane, Park Road, the A38.
Would you be happy to sort of research that for us
Yeah,
next time?
yeah,
Speak
that's
to the
fine.
county council.
Yeah.
Is the way around this to go via Jason?
No, not necessarily, because I'll have a look and put some areas together that we've historically done, and whether we go out to ask some other people to do it,
No, I'm only,
or through Jason.
I'm only saying that because of the situation, the equipment you've got and the situation you're in.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
No, I think if David was happy to research the locations,
Yes.
then we can go out to tender.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then you can quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, through Jason if necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. But I have a couple. One is we had a contact through Colin from the Nuttall Trust about the bench on the triangle, and I think they are proposing that if we were content to put forward a replacement bench and have it installed, they would effectively pay for it. I think is that my reading, Colin? But obviously we'd have to put it past them.
Well, I don't know how the original bench was supplied. Was it supplied by the parish council and then paid for by Nuttall?
I think it was paid for by Nuttall.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to get a bench from Summerlap and get it
Well, should we not
painted.
say to Nuttall Trust, we can get a bench, it will cost X and it will cost Y for
Well, they'll give us
installation.
grant, won't they?
Well,
So they could work out the grant.
What
that's
I'll
it.
do, I'll go to Summerlap
Yep.
and I'll get a price for a bench.
Okay.
And then we can say this is what it's going to cost,
That's it.
plus painting or whatever they put on it.
Stairs.
And plus we'll have to have a label on it because that one
It is engraved.
is engraved.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have a label now. We don't, because it costs a lot to engrave it, wouldn't it? Probably.
Area products, very good.
Are they?
Ooh.
Really?
Is there any installation,
If any
He
requirements,
didn't he?
or is there any particular requirement for installing it to stop it going walkabout?
The one is
Concrete.
cemented or
Yeah.
cemented in.
So it's a junction box or something
Yeah, yeah.
similar, what we get.
Something to do.
The other one I've got in mind is, I did make a suggestion some time ago, and Brian kindly produced a couple of cartoons which I left at home, sorry Brian, about creating a trail on the playground equipment or on the playground area of a Find the Frogs for the children, bearing in mind we are Village of the Frogs. I know Brian did some cartoons, but I was conscious that we could perhaps go to John's favourite supplier and get some little 7x4 signs made up. If, I'm not saying that's through them, in various locations, and then the children can go and find all these damn frogs.
Oh, I see.
Just
hide them.
Yeah, on even the little stepping, on the trim trail, little stepping stones. It's just a thought to go forward. Just to encourage the children, Colin. It might encourage the adults because it's good to stimulate the brain because it prevents dementia.
I've made that from that report anyway, so.
Sally turns over the road.
John? Oh, sorry,
Can I just write something? Planning training. I sent out a note, and I've actually preempted it in some ways because I've already told his name escapes me. Stuart. That we've got two places at the moment. Two on the 12th and one on the 18th. I've got down John on the 12th and Andrea on the 12th, and I've got Bella down on the 18th. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You can't do the other
I
day.
can't do any of those.
Is this the
dates,
November?
I'm
This
sorry.
is November.
This is October. October the 12th and October the 18th. So the 2 dates.
I don't know why.
I don't know whether Brian, Malcolm, Peter, or Richard want to go now.
Thank you very much for the invitation, but I'd like to decline.
I sent you that on a break.
Yeah, that's
I'll have a look at my diary.
So are we saying that the dates we've got now, 2 on the 12th and 1 on the 18th?
Who's on the
correct?
12th? No.
You've got Andrea on the 12th with yourself, Josh,
Josh.
and Bella is on the 18th. Does
I
that pose any
better
problems for you
contact
actually?
Andrea then.
Does that pose any problems for you? Because you'd effectively going singularly.
No.
Now, if you wanted to, Andrea said she will also change to the 18th if you prefer to go with somebody, or if she prefers to go with somebody.
No, I don't know.
It's a matter for you.
I asked Roger if he'd take me, if I'm
I
not
put-
happy to drive.
I
He
booked
boxed
the
it
two.
up
Well,
when we
I
had.
booked the 2 places for the 12th and one for the 18th at the moment. That's what I booked.
Are those the only dates?
Unless there are any others booked, and nothing else.
Is Andrea going to come or
What days are we
Because I've already
flying?
done, otherwise
Wednesday, I think.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday is it?
They're not both Thursdays, are they?
No, it's not well.
Oh,
The
the
first one's Thursday, the second one's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
I think as of today, there was some
I think I'll have to
70
check that.
councillors coming to the first one and about 50 something coming to the second
Yeah.
one.
Where's that?
Can I just double check?
Bridgewater, King's
Yeah,
Square.
so we'll let you know.
Yeah, okay, double check. Yeah.
We went to one last year, didn't we?
Because you can't make the 12th anyway, Bella, can you?
No.
No.
I don't know why I can't, but I can't.
Okay.
John? Colin? Anything for a report?
No, I'd like to put on the agenda for next time, because I wasn't at the last meeting, which I'm sorry because I was away, but if you remember, I had occasion to go to the Sedgemoor Planning Committee meeting to register our objection to a particular planning application, and I didn't feel it went too well, and I think if we're going to object to something, we need to make sure that we follow it up. For instance, on this Bramble Farm, we may need to go and present our case, and I think if we are going to be a successful planning committee, we ought to make sure we follow things through, but at the same time do it properly, because I don't think I did it well. I made some elementary mistakes which were picked up quite unnecessarily, in my opinion, but they were picked up. and it didn't make us look, and I'm sure Bob would agree, we didn't come out of it.
I wouldn't say
That's
that. No, Colin, I wouldn't say that. I'm sorry you was talking, but I heard it as well. And I know the only thing was it threw you because precedent, you're not allowed to use it, and it just that was what you were basing your, your report on.
And I sort of mentioned at the last meeting that I had some feedback from other colleagues who were sat around the table, and they had no criticism of your presentation, but they felt that you hadn't got a strong enough argument to come there with. What you did well with what you, and I know this, I'm not trying to sound patronising at this point, but what the comment was made was you've gone as far as you possibly could with what you've got to play with. But the two applications that you come down there to speak on, the officers had put such a strong case the other side, and you were left with very little way to go.
I was left with nowhere to go.
No.
And I think that's the important thing is, if you are going to go down, we need to look at the report that is produced. Can we get hold of that?
It's sent to the parish council beforehand, so you can get access to that.
Because that would have said, and I think
you say it's sent to the parish council. How is that sent, Bob?
It's sent electronically. It comes electronically, and it just says development committee meeting, and these are the applications that are being discussed. Now, I only send it out if it's a relevant one to Brent Knoll. I never send it out to everybody if it's not. If we haven't got an application yet. So if it's on there, it's on that list.
So that sets out the case officer's arguments.
You have a full report in front of you then.
And it was quite clear that, and if the planning body would have gone against their own advice, then it would have been clearly a real problem. And instead of listening to me, that's for sure. And we probably need not have gone, because we would have thought, hang on a minute, this is beyond us, we don't go. So I think if we're going to object to something, we look at what report comes back, and then we decide whether we're going to think, hang on a minute, there is something that we need to pursue here, and get our ducks in a row.
Yeah, so we're going to have to do that outside the main council meeting, aren't we?
Well, so be it.
Interesting, Colin, interesting, in the last meeting, 8217 on the minutes, it says here that it was resolved that on future occasions that the response given should continue to reflect, and on occasions give more detailed responses that match clearly valid planning considerations. That's what we agreed at the last meeting as a resolution. So whether that covers your point, or whether you want to add it further for the next meeting, really?
No, I'm just glad to have just debated it, because I do think we need to present ourselves properly, and I felt we didn't.
Bob, was there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was only going to say, in terms of your question whether you would need to meet outside the meeting, I mean, the parish council have already made its decision on what the recommendation is, so you're not doing anything that you're not already authorised to do. All you're doing is making sure you're making the strongest case you can. So there's no reason why you couldn't have a discussion as to who's going to go down there and say it, and help them plan it if you wanted to in the event, because you've already, as a council, decided that you're objecting to it, and you've already decided what your reasons are for objecting to it. So the council's already made that decision. You're not doing anything different. You're not changing any decisions. You're just simply adding to it and making sure that you can go down and make the best case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Peter?
Yeah, it's not my wish to upset anyone this evening, but I've said what I had to say. And we'll leave it at that, but I'm not a fan of the internet pension plan. The two signs as we enter the village from the A38, 30-mile-an-hour signs, could do with a bit of washing up liquid on them. Not like a load of growth on
So
them.
30 MPH signs coming into the village from the A38.
That's the object.
Apart from that, there's only one meeting before we have wine and
As I said earlier, you never heard the comment, I went to Waitrose this morning, and we were going to get some mince pies, but unfortunately, Christmas is finished, and they're doing Easter eggs.
Fair enough.
I did notice, talking about both signage, the village sign as you come in from East Brent, was partially obscured by
no, there's a tree growing, somebody's going to cut it.
somebody's cut the top off, but they haven't cut it to the grass.
Well, cut it down the bottom.
It needs cutting to the bottom, which I, if you're happy, I
Well, yeah, I would suggest
I'd go up there with some clippers
Yes, thank
or some loppers or something like
that
that.
would be a good idea.
Have you seen it? Somebody's planted, it's grass, but somebody's planted a bush right in the middle of the site, and it's growing, you can see it's growing.
Yeah, right across the side.
Whose land is that? Is it our land? Is it?
Well, it's the railway land, so
I'm
we've
afraid.
got the bush around.
Can you start the sign?
Chips
Bob,
on me.
have you anything?
I only was going to mention one thing, which was when I saw the highway lady earlier, some time ago, the parish council talked about having flashing signs near the school. It's another parish is looking into that, so I'm getting some information from them about these solar signs that come on at certain times and flash that it's school time. And also, apparently other villages have done it where they've shared the cost between the parish council and the school, if they want them. But once I get the information for the other parish, I'll obviously bring it to us as well.
Those are just simply saying it's school time, because other places such as Cheddar have actually got 20-mile-an-hour speed restrictions.
Yeah, it depends on what you end up putting in there, but it's similar. They've got similar ones with a 20 mile an hour at Weir School, which are in place now. But as I said, they're going to come back with the information. I can pass it on.
Presumably, we would not be able to have 20-mile-an-hour signs unless county agreed it.
Correct. But council would have to agree for the signs to go up anyway, so it's something that could be looked into. But obviously, I'll get the information first, and then we can think about it if people still want to.
You come into the village when it is school time, we've got no problem knowing it is school time.
Who would like to start the process of the circular file?
Me.
Because Andrew normally starts
Me.
it. Right, you have that?
Yeah.
Why don't Richard start, and we come the other way?
No. I like to get it.
You can't change habits because it causes issues.
You should know that, Peter.
Carry on the way I am then.
Who's doing the village green next month?
Me.
Thank you. Can we thank you then? We'll see you in a month.
Thank you very much.
That's the third one I've had.